Hello, interwebs, guildmates, and disc dyers. And today I welcome you to the June Dye-a-Thon of our take of the Feast of Food theme. I like doing these dye-a-thons live for a few reasons. One, I actually dye a disc because surprisingly I haven't dyed a disc recently or lately, and this is a chance for me to actually do that because I'm so busy doing the business side of the Dyers Guild. Yeah, which, may not be the most fun. And speaking of business, there are some very good things coming up about the business side of disc dyeing. I interviewed 6, potentially 7 of the higher profile dyers, I guess. They probably won't consider themselves popular or high profile, but I interviewed them to get a behind-the-scenes look of how they run their business and to give you guys, if you are interested in starting your own disc dyeing business or looking for tips and tricks of how other people have done it, these special edition, business edition Dying to Listen podcasts are going to be really, really useful. So those should be coming out next month. I still have to edit those. But why we are here today is we are going to dye a disc based on the June... Oh, crap. It should be July. I should probably change that. July. There we go. July Dye-a-Thon theme. I got my months mixed up. Yeah, we're going to dye a disc, but we'd also like for you guys to join as well. Again, the theme is food. And it's not a contest, it's just a fun thing to do. And if you submit your dye of this particular theme on the specific post on the Dyers Guild website, you will get entered to win some swag. So it's just a random drawing that I will pick at random. I think it will be happening, the winning drawing will be happening August. We're going to be doing the picking of the winners during the roundtable review, which is going to be at the beginning of the month. But what you guys could potentially win is this limited edition Founders Edition loot bag. And besides that, these loot bags, not sponsored by them, but if you haven't checked them out, definitely go check out loot bags. Love the way that they designed and the material that's in them. Very cool. You will get a Dyers Guild metallic pin and a Dyers Guild branded shot glass, which we'll actually be using a lot today for what we're going to be doing, which I'm excited for. All right. So, I think I got all the boring stuff all the way. Now we'll get into the fun stuff until I start weeding. I'm curious to see how long the stencil is going to take to weed. I typically try to do stuff that is quick and easy, but yeah. I'm really excited for the stencil. If you saw the image in the actual Dye-a-Thon graphic, it might give you a hint of what it is, but it is something beef and on the grill. So, yes. All right, I'm going to switch over my cameras here. All right. So, I have my disc. The dye that I'm going to, or disc that I'm going to be doing the dye on is a MVP Tesla. The reason I picked this is once you see the stencil, you'll get an idea of why I picked it, but I wanted a black rim for that. So the methods that we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be experimenting personally with using gradation. There are a bunch of dyers that do it really well, and I'm going to try to do that. But I'm going to do the stencil first, so I'm going to lay that down, and I'm going to use denatured alcohol to get the black for the stencil. I've been really liking the denatured alcohol way of doing it rather than hot dip. It's super fast, and you can get really good results super fast, and I don't like waiting for I don't like waiting for discs to die. I'm very, very impatient. We're going to do the stencil. I got to make sure this time I leave parts of the vinyl on because I'm going to do the background is going to be a gradation, and I'm very curious to see how that's going to turn out. Then the stake part, I'm going to be doing some hand painting on that as well, and that's why I got these lovely shot glasses here, because I didn't mix any denatured alcohol mixes to do the hand painting, which I would highly recommend, but I am going to cut my acetone mixes with some isopropyl alcohol. So we'll see how that goes. I did a little bit of cutting with isopropyl alcohol, and it seemed to work good. And the reason why I want to cut it with isopropyl alcohol is so it's not so harsh, because the acetone dye, if you try to hand paint it, it's like once you put it on, it's on. It's not very forgiving, and depending on what method you're doing, it can leave streaks and other stuff like that, unless you're going for that. But I'm going to be cutting that with some isopropyl alcohol. So let us get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to be cleaning the disc with isopropyl alcohol. I feel like you guys should take a shot every time I say isopropyl alcohol. But the reason why I'm cleaning the disc is for a few reasons. During the disc manufacturing process, there is typically a release agent that is left on there, which is the dye does not like to permeate through that, and you want to clean that. Also, if you're using a used disc, it also helps clean up all the dirt and gunk off the flight plate. So there's many ways that you can clean a disc. You can use soap and water. You can use a magic eraser. I, again, prefer isopropyl alcohol because it's quick and doesn't ruin the disc. So nice, once over for that. I'm actually going to move that over to the side. Now we're going to apply the stencil to the disc. I've already cut it out, and I marked the center of where that is going to be. And I'm going to be laying the vinyl on top of the disc rather than the disc on top of the vinyl. People that do it the other way are savages. You want to do it the right way, where you lay it down. Again, I joke, but whatever way works best for you. And sometimes having the vinyl down and laying the disc on top makes sense. But you do you. But if you do it that way, you're wrong. So I have this Disc Aligner Pro 3000. So we have this for sale if you want to buy this complete thing, or we do have plans for it on the Dyers Guild website. Go check that out, but I use this to, instead of something really janky like trying to hang it from a light lamp or a post that just keeps wiggling, this is a little bit more sturdy, and you can also take it down and it's pretty compact. But I'm just going to stick the laser in there, and there we go. So I'm going to get a little bit more comfortable for me. Hopefully that works for you as well. And with this stencil, since it's a blank disc, I don't have to wipe the stamp, and there is no up or down or way that you want to do that. So if you had a stamp on there and you want the stencil to be in a specific place, you would want to be cognizant of that. So what I'm going to do is take the backing paper off of my stencil. And I'm hoping, actually I'm just going to, I'll redo that in a second, because I might have to use my squeegee. I'm hoping that the transfer paper sticks to the vinyl, so the vinyl does not stick to the backing paper. And so far so good. Which I'm actually quite surprised. The vinyl that I like to use is Oracle 651 Matte Black. I find that the matte is a little bit more malleable than the glossy, and it has a matte finish, so you can kind of see the contrast between the glossy disc. And I like black because it gives me a reference point of how black my dye is for my stencils. So And if things are pulling up, you can kind of see right there. You just go back over with your squeegee and press down as best you can. And I like to go at a sharp angle to help mitigate vinyl coming up. All right, easy peasy. So now I'm going to recenter my disc with the laser as best as I can. You know, if I do mess up, I'm gonna have to redo everything because I don't like things off center even slightly. All right. So I'm going to be putting the vinyl down on the disc, and I like to go kind of like a taco, and I like to have the center part touch first. Then I lay one side down, then I lay the other side down, but you'll see in a second. All right. Got that all centered. And once the vinyl touches, you are pretty much committed. I just like to gently let it rest on its side. Then I like to take my finger and gently go outwards. Then I'll take the other side and I'll just slowly roll it over. This disc is fairly easy because it doesn't have a huge dome. Discs that have a larger dome are a bit more hard to work with. But that was fairly straightforward. So, just going to take my finger and go around the edges. And the nice thing with this stencil is you don't have to worry about the edges because, one, you have the black rim, which is nice. And two, the stencil does not go to the edges. But there are some other tips and tricks that at some point I will tell you guys of how to effectively get your cut stencil all the way to the edge and around without any issues. So my biggest concern today is making sure I don't weed parts that don't need to be weeded too early, because I need to mask off certain parts of the design to do what I need it to do. Okay, I think it should be good. Good. Next, we're going to take the backing paper off. And what I like to do is I like to basically stick the vinyl to whatever my surface is because it helps peeling it off. The backing paper, or transfer tape, I'm sorry. And we're going to do the same thing that we did like with the backing paper, is going at a very sharp angle. Wow, I think this may have been the best application of a vinyl stencil that I've done. Like, barely any air bubbles. And that's why I like to use the Oracle 651 matte black and also this transfer paper. So it's actually, I consider it glorified painter's tape, but that's basically what it is. It has enough tack to lift the vinyl from the backing paper, but also doesn't, you know, stick to the vinyl like crazy, and it's super easy to get a nice flat application without a bunch of air bubbles. Right. So, next thing that I'm going to be doing is weeding. So we'll see how long this takes. I'm hoping it doesn't take too long. The other thing that I like to do is, depending on what you're doing, if you're going to be doing denatured alcohol, you can kind of lift up the sides to have it make sure that when you do put the denatured alcohol in disc, that it doesn't run underneath the disc and cause any issues with that. So I'm going to be trying a new tool that Brittany from Ugly Hand Dyes recommended. This just may look like a normal clicky pen, but I assure you, it is not. It's actually, I know it's very, very hard to tell, but it's basically a needle and a pen, and it's designed that way, and it helps you pick at very, very, very small details. So we're going to try that, but my weeding device choice are these tweezers. They are the fine point tweezers, and they are very, very sharp. Ask me how I know. I've actually stabbed myself with these, which is not fun. All right. So this part may take a second, and I can catch up on any comments on the chat. Anybody said anything of interest here? Cool. Loot bags are the shiznit. I agree. Shot glasses are fun. Yes. Fantastical. All right, now I have to use my brain on this part. What parts do I want to be black? Which should be fairly easy and straightforward, technically. So we'll send it and see what happens. This first part should, a lot of it is one piece, so it should come up. But the stencil is, we'll see in a second, but the stencil is of a grill grate with a steak on top of it. And there are charcoal embers in the center. And what I want to try to do is do a gradient background from like yellow to orange with the background to get the warm glow of the grill, and do some hand painting on the steak. Now I'm debating on how I want my steak to be done within this design. I don't think I want it to be completely rare, because then it might blend in with the background, so I might add a little browning or charring to it. Yeah. I got this stencil from iStock, I believe. A bunch of stock photo places had it, but I got it from there, and it was this was somewhat nice because they had a bunch of other items that you could put on the grill that were separate from the actual grill part, like peppers and tomatoes and mushrooms. But I decided to go simple. Just a nice, good old steak. Tried finding a T-bone steak, but they didn't have that. All right, while I'm doing this very fun and exciting part, does anybody have any questions about anything? Preferably this dyeing. But in life in general. All right. Trying to scroll to see my comments here. So what are you guys going to be doing for the July? I keep saying June. July Dye-a-Thon for food. I know I've seen some pretty cool ones already. I was trying to think of ones that haven't been done, like fruit, like watermelon or oranges or anything like that. Or didn't want to do pizza because that was been done a while, been done a lot. I like steak, so I figured let's just do a steak. Mr. Xander said, is wearing a leather apron standard for disc dyeing? You know, you want to be part of the Dyers Guild? It is. You must wear this heavy leather apron with heavy shoes, black jeans, and a heavy denim button-up shirt that is long sleeve, as well as a very warm wool cap. And you need to do this during the summer when it's like 90 degrees out, vending at events. So whoever was in charge of costuming for the Dyers Guild should be fired. um, yeah. Trying to think of a somewhat lighter outfit that would work for the hot summer months. Because someone is complaining I'm not naming names because I don't want to go to HR about it. But yeah. Easy. So, I'm taking my time with it because there are a bunch of fine lines in here, and I don't want to pull up something that shouldn't be pulled up. Again, I got this specific design on iStock, but you find it. There's a bunch of different stock sites, and I did a bunch of cleanup on this because there was a lot of extra little dots, and I really hate weeding just one little dot. So I cleaned that up, and basically anything that wasn't connected to it, I removed it within reason, unless it didn't look right. So making weeding easier. Yeah. Mowgli said, same thing, just with jorts. Are jorts the pant shorts that you can zipper and unzip? If so, I totally had some. I don't think I ever really used them to their full potential of zipping and unzipping. I think if I did unzip the jorts, that the pant leg part was gone forever. So it was permanently just short jorts. Well, for those who are joining, we are doing our take on the July, I gotta keep saying July, not June, Dye-a-Thon, and the theme is Feast of Food. So if you want to dye a disc that has a theme of food, we would love to see it. And the Dye-a-Thon, it's not a contest, it's just a fun creative exercise. If you're bored or in a creative funk and you just want to try something, or even a new technique that you've never done before, it's a lot of fun. And if you submit what you've dyed for that month on the Dyers Guild website on the specific post for that month, you get entered for a random drawing of various things. This month it is some Dyers Guild swag of a loot bag, shot glass, and a metal pin. And I'm going slightly out of my comfort zone today because I'm going to be trying some gradation, which I have still trying to work on. If you haven't checked out Mowgli's live stream, I know he's doing a bunch of gradation stuff recently, and today I saw him working on some stuff, and that somewhat inspired me to do that tonight. Also, I kind of want a steak. It's been a while since I actually I cooked a steak. So, $1 million question, guys. How do you like your steak cooked? Do you like it just came from a cow and still bleeding? Or do you like it so well done that it's just hard as a rock and completely black and brown? I personally like it medium rare. And besides how you like your steak done, what sides do you like when you eat the steak? Classic mashed potatoes are always a good choice. I'm trying to think what kind of steak that I actually like. T-bone, pretty traditional. I think it's ribeye, if I'm not mistaken. I think ribeye is really fatty, and fat adds flavor. I always get like porterhouse and ribeye, but I'm almost positive it's ribeye that I like. Bob Gator said he likes his steak medium rare. Good choice. My parents cooked the hell out of everything. I never got to experience tasty steak as a kid. Everything was so well done. Shame, really. Now as an adult, I can do what I want. Alright. Outer part basically done. Now I gotta do the steak part. Let's see here. Dye-a-Thon just says medium rare for sure. Usually throw some asparagus and foil with butter on the grill side. Now I want to. Oh, I totally forgot. I used to do the asparagus in the foil as well, or any veggies in the foil with butter. Damn, man. Now I'm really hungry. Xbox Trader 1 said, caught you live. Just wanted to say, got the emergency dye kit from Foundation, and it's super cool. Doing them tomorrow finally. That is awesome. It's so cool to see what people have been doing with the emergency dye kit that was in the Foundation subscription box for June. That was very fun working with Foundation on that. And yeah, it's so cool to see everybody's experience first time disc dyeing. So yeah, once you dye a disc with that kit, definitely would love to see it. Either tag us or shoot me a DM. I always love seeing what people have been doing. I've been trying to follow as much as I can. Like Foundation has a Discord channel or Discord server, and they have a dyeing channel that I've been trying to keep up on. Okay. Okay, good. I thought I was weeding something that I wasn't supposed to weed, because I don't want to weed the inner parts of the steak. I'm only weeding everything that's black. I almost freaked out for a second there. Master Dark Boy says, love asparagus on the grill. Yes, very much so. Xbox Trader said, I picked up 2 T-bones on sale. Nice. Dye-a-Thon just said, did you guys have a booth at Alpine recently? My friends were telling me how much fun they had, but I don't know where it was. Yes. So we did a local event last Sunday at Alpine Valley Resort in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. And that was our friends from Jeremy from Alpine, who runs this Summer Trails disc golf course there, and Juliana from Trifox, who helped run the Flex, because there was a Flex event going on, and we set up to teach people how to dye discs. So yes. Let's see. Moogly said ribeye is great, and you can get those tomahawk steaks, bone-in ribeyes. Yes. Oh man. Steak is good. I think I'm trying to think. Is steak my #1 grilled food, or is it salmon? Because I am a salmon lover. I could probably eat salmon all the time. And you know how your body just sometimes craves food because it needs specific nutrients? Salmon is like that, because you have that that fatty nutrition in fish. And sometimes your body's like, I need it. Yes. Plus, it's also healthy. Alright. This weeding part is not going to be fun because I had a lot of those dots, but it helped define the shape of the steak. Ooh, ribs. Ribs are good too. I have not cooked ribs on the grill. Or let me back. I've never cooked ribs in general. I just feel like I would mess them up and they would not turn out as good as they could. Like, they might be super tough. Yeah. I had an old co-worker who did grilling competitions, and is doing really well within the state of Wisconsin. And he used to bring in food that he cooked to test out and make sure everything is working properly. And boy, he had some ribs, and they were mouth-watering. I apologize for everybody watching this stream and getting very hungry because we're talking about food. Because now I'm getting hungry. I should have brought a snack. Brought a real steak. But we should be almost done weeding here. Probably about another 5 minutes. Then we'll be applying our denatured alcohol to get our black stencil outline. Danner said meat is good for promoting smiles. I agree. Fire Dye says that's how I'm with steaks. Roadhouse cooks them right 90% of the time. Laugh my ass. Roadhouse. I don't think I've ever eaten at Roadhouse before. Opalescent Art said, where did you get the design from? I got the design from iStock. The specific design was actually on a couple stock photo sites. It was an illustration, and the nice thing about this specific design is they had the design of just the grill and like all the stuff that goes on the grill, like the steak, the mushrooms, the onions, the tomatoes were like in a separate thing that you could put on the grill. So I did that, and I just went simple with the steak. I was like, maybe I should put some veggies on the grill too, but I was like, I don't want it to get it too busy, and I want the steak to stand on its own. Too bad Quick Trip here does not serve steak, because I have a 24-hour Quick Trip, and yeah. Trying to think of steak places that we have here. We have Outback Steakhouse, that's a chain, obviously. Texas Roadhouse. I think that's what you meant, Dyer Dyes with Roadhouse. But I feel like going out to eat is just getting so expensive. I'd rather pick up a nice cut of meat and grill it myself. Oh, I hate weeding these small little intricate dots because they get stuck on my fingers. Plus, they're just annoying to do because you peel one, you gotta do another one. Peel another one. Peel another one. But these fine point tweezers, super nice. And if you're careful, you don't gouge the disc. Kind of go in at a slight angle and you lift it up. I still have yet to use this tool, which I'm going to see how this works. Woo. It's like the fine point tweezers. It's like got a really point like you would with a needle. Like really small annoying details. But I like the tweezers because I can actually grab the vinyl up. But we don't have the tweezers for sale specifically on the website, but if you buy a kit, the gold kit and platinum kit comes with these tweezers. Or if you go to our supplies page, I think I have those linked as well to the Amazons. Quick Trip, Dyer Dye says, Quick Trip does have good sausage et croissant sandwiches though. You're not wrong. Mowgli says, I just leave the bits on my fingers and get them all off at once. That's typically what I do as well, because once they start piling up, they kind of get caked on there, and it's easier to peel off when you have a bunch on. So typically I peel, then I stick to my finger, I peel, and I stick to my finger, and I just let those layers annoyingly build up until I can't stand it anymore. But sometimes the vinyl like gets turned around so it sticks to my other finger. Like, darn it. I was debating of having this pre-weeded, but what's the fun in that? Opalescent R says, do you sell the stencils? We do have a section on the website, on the store. If you go to dyersguild.co/store/stencils, and we do have some stencils, and we're working on building up the library there. We do not have this specific stencil because another artist created it and did not resell other people's artwork legally without getting a licensing from that artist. So trying to have original artwork on the site. But you can definitely go check out some stock photo sites like iStock, Shutterstock. Yeah. Or Etsy. That's another place that you can get. Just search for whatever you're looking for and SVG. And SVG is it's a vector file format, but that's basically what you're looking for. Yeah. Vinyl bits everywhere, says Ugly Hand Dyes. Yes, it is everywhere. I think there's like a bunch of little bits stuck on my linoleum floor. Okay, this is going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Totally worth it. After I'm done weeding, since this was a blank blade plate on the top, not too worried about it. But if you did wipe a stencil, depending on the manufacturer, when they put the the foil on for the stamp, I'm sorry, they sometimes may press a little bit hard on the stamping machine and emboss the design into the disc. Even after you wipe the stamp, that emboss will be there, and you really have to make sure that the vinyl is in those creases to make sure you do not get any bleeds. And how I mitigate that is I heat up the disc with the vinyl on there so it gets a little bit softer and malleable. That's another way how you can get it to wrap around the disc nicely. Heat is your friend with basically almost everything in disc dyeing. And you heat it up. I use a heat gun, but I recently been using the dehydrator because it's there and it's convenient. But I heat it up, then I just press everything down in all the crevices as much as you can. You can use your fingers, you can use some other burnishing tools. You want to make sure you can get those or get in the creases as much as possible to reduce the bleeding. But since I'm working with a blank disc, there is none of that, so I am going to skip that step, and hopefully there should be no bleeding. But if there is, perfectly fine. Let's see here. Sorry if I butcher this. Azilmerge Designs asks, what do you use to cut the vinyl? I may have missed that part. I use a vinyl cutter, specifically the Cricut Maker. Now, I am working on a video testing 4 different vinyl cutters, which is the Cricut Maker, the Cameo 4, I believe, and 2 cheaper ones. The Beaver one, which is orange, and another one Locklick that you can find on Amazon. And they actually just had a deal for that vinyl cutter for like $50 with the Prime week that went on last week. But going to be testing out those vinyl cutters to see if there is something better and finding the pros and cons of each vinyl cutter. While the Cricut is nice, there are some limitations to it. One is you need to be connected to the internet to actually use the software, which I do not like. Because I had a power outage here. I was like, oh, I'm going to cut some stencils and work on some disc dyes. Nope. So that was a bummer. I believe the Silhouette Studio, you can work anywhere without internet. The Locklick, I think, actually needs to be connected, and I still need to test the Beaver one. But yes, long story short, I use a vinyl cutter to cut the stencils. Yeah, cool. Everything is weeded, I believe. My luck, I'll probably forget something, but I try to work with stencils and designs and modify the design so that there's nothing that I missed. And working again with the black vinyl that is matte, you can definitely see a contrast difference. You can actually see the cut lines in the vinyl too. But I think I've got everything. Now let me holster up my tweezers so I don't poke myself. Let me try to remove all the schnibbles. And we'll get to the fun part. We're going to be applying the denatured alcohol to here to get to the stencil. Jory said, my Cricut is dope, 3+ years and cutting better than ever. Yeah, it's not a bad machine. I have not had any horrible issues. I think the issues that if I had any, were cutting like really fine detailed stencils. I think what I'm doing here is at its limit, but still got to do some more experimenting with that. And I'm very curious with the other vinyl cutters that I'm testing to see how they stack up and perform compared to my Cricut. Joy said he hasn't calibrated yet either. Neither have I. The only thing that I've done is I've cleaned the blade by stabbing it in foil. And from my understanding, stabbing it in foil gets any of the excess residue, adhesive, and any other vinyl bits that may be stuck on there to make sure that it doesn't, when it's cutting, that it doesn't drag and rip up other vinyl. It does not dull the blade, from my experience. So what I'm doing here is I'm pinching the edges of the vinyl to make a basically bowl, because I'm going to be applying the denatured alcohol to the top of here, and I don't want anything spilling over to the sides. This design is not horribly important because I could wrap around and just have the dye drip off the sides, but I will not do that. Before I do that, I'm going to read the questions because I'm going to be intently concentrating on this. Die Free just says, I'm working with a Cricut Joy. Excited to get a bigger model soon, but she'll do for now. How wide is the Cricut Joy? I think it's like 6 inches. They also came out like with a Cricut Joy Plus, which is 8 inches, I can think. Let's see. Master Dark Boy says, need a mutant disc with a steak on it. Super beef, nice. Dieforge, I've just accepted that I probably have vinyl bits on me at any given moment. That's just my life now. Yes. The Cricut Joy is only 4.5 inches? Wow, I didn't think it was that small. I could have swore it was like 6, like half the size of a the other full-size machines. Wow. Yeah. Well, again, curious to see out how all these other vinyl cutters are going to cut. Stack up to the cut line. I can't think of anything clever. Yeah, because that Beaver one was like 130, you could probably get it for 120, and that Loklik Loklik was like $50 at the Amazon Prime thing. But yeah. All right. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be applying denatured alcohol mixed with a couple different blacks. And I got this idea and formula from Jory's Fly Dyes. You can check out his podcast, and I think he has some other information as well as what he uses for this. But with this, adding more dye isn't detrimental. It actually helps. So there's actually a few different colors of black in here. And Jory, if you want to chime in with what your specific mixture is, more than welcome to. I use Onyx, Dark Dungeon, and there was another Prochem black that I did in there, and I just kind of left it in there. You can heat this up. Don't use like any flames or anything, but you can use like something, say like a mug warmer, to heat up the dye to help it accept a little bit better. You can also preheat the disc as well. But what I found, and I think what Jory does as well, is you basically just pour it on there and you kind of schlep it. So you want to puddle it, not necessarily paint in layers. And what I will be doing, and I think what Jory does as well, is he takes a pipette and he just kind of drops it on there. Then once it's dropped on there, you brush it around. And I'm stalling just to make sure I got everything right, which I think I do. So yeah. All right. We're going to take the pipette and we're just going to slap around there. More the merrier. Also kind of cool to watch the dye go into the little crevices. A little bit more. Cool. Now I'm just going to take the brush, kind of move the dye in some of the areas that will need it. Do not get drops. That is basically that. And it will evaporate over time. So you want to make sure you got good coverage on everything. And kind of nice where that it was pulled up to the side, that you can kind of drag it from that puddle. Yeah. That is that. Just let it sit for a smidge. And it doesn't take too long, but again, you can heat up the dye as well as the disc to make it accept better and faster. I did not, so I'm just going to let it sit and do its thing. If you do have larger areas that you need to get black, hot dipping is still a good method because it's inherently hot, which helps the dye absorb into the disc. And after I'm done with this part, I'm going to do a quick rinse with some isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to rinse it with some water. Make sure I got everything off. Yellow. No. Also, highly recommend doing this in a vented area because denatured alcohol is very smelly, the same with acetone. And I should follow my own rules. If you're done with any of the open bottles, please put the cap on so you don't spill, because I've had that happen with a single bottle, and that's one of the reasons why I made these trays so they don't spill as much. Right. Maybe just a bit more. Kind of waiting for everything to evaporate. I did a little bit more than I was wanting / anticipating, but should be fine. Okay. BBQ. Let that sit a little bit longer. That's it. I'm going to take a little drink break. Anybody have any questions so far? Because it looks like just kind of a black blob on the screen. Just checking to make sure everything is working properly. All right. I hope the Instagram feed is working properly. It looks like it's frozen on my end, but seems like people are still watching and commenting, so it's been hit or miss. I've been trying to stream both to Instagram and other platforms at the same time, and Instagram one can be a bit finicky at times. All right, we're just glazing the steak here with some denatured alcohol with black dye to get that nice, beautiful black stencil coloring that we're looking for. It does feel like I'm glazing the food with this. Yes. All right. I'm just trying to let the denatured alcohol evaporate so I don't have to wipe as much off. Yeah. All business bird. Hey, nice to see you there. Shout out to Dyers Guild. Thanks for helping out with an amazing foundation subscription box. No, I was happy and excited to help out, and that was a lot of stuff to pack. Not gonna lie, got me worried for a second, but we got it squared away. So who knows? We might do something else in the future. Right, Brad? All right. I think we're pretty much set on there. I'm just going to let that dry just a smidge more. And so shot glasses are very nice to have, and I'm going to be using these a lot today. One of the purposes that I'm going to use them is I'm going to be putting the isopropyl alcohol in here so I can cut my other dye mixtures, the acetone dye mixture, so they're not as harsh when I do the hand painting. But it's also good to have a nice clean one so you can clean stuff with. I'm just going to clean my brush, get all that denatured alcohol off. Fantastic. So much shaving cream. Yes. It probably really fun to source all that shaving cream. Probably walking into the local Walmart buying all the travel size shaving cream. kind of giving you weird looks. It's not as weird looks as buying a bunch of paper towel and lotion. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be wiping down the disc with some isopropyl alcohol to remove most of the denatured alcohol. Going to clean that up. Going to remove that. And at this stage, I think I'm actually put my gloves on because I feel like it's going to get a bit messy. Also, wearing gloves is good if you don't want your hands to be dyed a bunch of different colors. Also, this dye is dye, and anything it touches, it will dye. So if you don't want your clothes to be dyed, wear an apron or clothes that you don't find important. And please do not spill the dye on anything that you do not want to be dyed. Like if you're in your living room or kitchen and you don't have really nice space for a dye lab, set something on the floor because accidents can happen. All right. Thanks, Brad. Thanks for stopping in. All right. Gonna clean the disc a little bit more. I don't know if you can tell, but you can see there is that copperishy sheen. That is excess dye, and you want to clean that up as much as possible so you don't get that copper sheen. You'll notice when you do hot dips as well, you'll get that sheen. And all that is just, again, excess dye. And you want to make sure you get as much of that as you possibly can. Because when we're going to be doing the hand painting, we want to make sure that we're not smearing the black stencil anywhere. The best is, I've been learning from Brittany from Ugly Hand Dyes, is after you do your stencil, if you wait a day, that will help tremendously in the black stencil not bleeding when you're doing your hand painting, because it has time to actually sit in the disc. So if you can wait, that would be best. If not, well, you can send it as well. But yeah. So I'm going to try to get as much as possible off. I like to use paper towels. You can use cotton swabs. The reason I like paper towels over cotton swabs for certain things is if you use cotton swabs and you have really fine details and sharp points, the cotton swab part can get stuck on those little edges and stay there, which can be kind of annoying. So I personally like to use shop towels because even normal paper towels have leave residue. The shop towels typically don't. So I'm actually even trying to get all the residue off the vinyl because I'm going to be leaving some of the vinyl on for the next part, and I don't want that excess dye to get everywhere. And then folding the paper towel and reusing other parts that are clean. And I think I actually might even rinse this with some soap and water. We'll see. Isopropyl alcohol does a pretty good job at getting most of it off. Like I said, if you can actually wait a day before you do your next steps, that will help mitigate the bleeding when you're working on those next steps. Yeah. Dyeforges, I feel like if I scrub my stencils like that, the detail will come up. I've been doing a quick pour and float in ISO. I've been meaning to try that to clean it. Maybe I'm just paranoid about that. Yes, if you do scrub really hard and you have fine details, you will lift it up. Like I actually There's a few parts in here that the fine lines did get lifted up, but I'm not horribly concerned about it. Ugly Hand says, I'm assuming wash with water, soap, and magic eraser. Yeah. Yeah. I think my sink is kind of buried back there, but I might rinse with some soap and water. But yeah. One of the reasons why I don't want to wash with soap and water is then I have to dry the disc, which takes time. So, yeah. Great. Grab one more clean towel, do a sopping with isopropyl alcohol, then I'll rinse it with some water. Sopping wet, and I'm not like scrubbing. I'm just trying to lift up as much as possible by just gently going over the top of it. And it's still picking up a bunch. And even the stuff that is picking up, that would get transferred when you're doing your hand painting. So the more you clean it, the better you are. Just don't scrub the shit out of it. Like I said, I'm even doing the edges because I'm going to be doing other stuff. I don't want excess dye to be popping up everywhere. This paper towel is getting annoying. Alright. Now, I'll go to the sink and wash real quick, but I gotta keep remembering of what vinyl I need to pull up and what vinyl I need to keep for what I'm doing. So the steak has got to stay. I'm going to be doing the background of the grill and charcoal portion. Brittany said, yes, just another example of how there are many ways to do things. There are a billion ways to do things, many ways to skin a cat. Whatever way works for you. But my way's the best. No. That's the nice thing is learning all the other tips and tricks that the dyers have been doing, and I'm by no means an expert at disc dyeing. I just learned from other dyers that came before me, and I'm trying to help pass that generational knowledge on to future disc dyers. Dyeforge says, I got nailed with the release agent the other night for the first time in like a year. It hurt my soul. Yes, I've had that happen too, even after cleaning the disc beforehand. It's just like some spots you're like, nope, not going to take dye. Okay. I think we're sufficiently cleaned. I say that, but I'm going to be probably swearing under my own breath when I'm going to be doing the next steps. Which, honestly, I think I haven't done specifically what I'm going to be doing, so it's going to be an experiment for me as well. Okay. So, give me about a few minutes. I will be right back. Talks amongst yourself. I'll go clean this off with some soapy water. Maybe just water. We have soap up here. Alright, didn't have soap up here, sadly, but just rinse it with some water. Now I will dry it off. So the next part is I'm going to weed out the inner grill part, so if I can get in here. These parts here, because I'm going to be attempting to do a gradation from the center outward. I'm going to do dandelion yellow and gradate to orange, hopefully. We'll see. If the black gets mixed in with there, that's fine as well, because it doesn't need to be perfect. I mean, nothing's perfect. And I'm curious to see how much of this black dye is going to be picked up with my stuff here. Okay, again, don't need this yet because I'm going to be reading part. Ugly Hand said, I did to Dye Forge. Even the vinyl didn't want to stick. It was a mess. Got it clean, mint glow really well, I learned. Yes, Cansoplast, that they are, yeah, tough. Trying to think if I did this right. I think I did, because I still have these grates masked off. It'll be fine, I think. It'll be white. Sure, we'll send it. So now I'm going to read this part. I hope that's right. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. I'm also curious to see how many bleeds, if any, there are, because I did not heat the vinyl them around. So. Now I'm wearing rubber gloves while weeding, which is also a little bit more difficult. And we're back at weeding. There was some slight bleeding at these really, really fine lines. Again, perfectly fine in this case, doesn't need to be perfect. Kind of hard to show on camera, but I'll be taking some finished photos. But like I mentioned earlier, I like doing these dye-a-thons personally, because I don't have much time to actually dye discs. Recently, trying to run the Dyers Guild business and experimenting live with you guys as well, and learning from chat if they have any tips and tricks. And hopefully you learn something as well along the way. This part should go fairly fast. Doing the grill portion. I think I might bring out my Lazy Susan because I don't know. Yeah, I might bring out the Lazy Susan because I'm going to be doing the radial gradient. And I don't have any denatured alcohol specifically mixed up, so I'm going to be taking my acetone dye mixture and cutting it with isopropyl alcohol to reduce the harshness of the acetone. Brittany, have you cut your acetone dyes with isopropyl alcohol before? And if so, do you have a specific ratio that you like to use? I've done a few cutting the acetone dye with isopropyl alcohol, and it does work. Still experimenting with that myself. This is almost as exciting as watching paint dry. I hate when you get like a, ooh, this is going to be a good vinyl pull, then it just rips. Darn it, that could have came off in one piece. Stencils can be fun, or they can be very frustrating, depending on how you look at it. It is very time consuming, especially like some of these dyers with these crazy detailed stencils. One, impressed that your vinyl cutter can cut it. Two, you guys are insane for weeding that much detail. I don't have the patience. For instance, I add a little to the lighter colors like blues, just a few milliliters. I've heard several people say they do that. Who knew? People who know their stuff. And no, I don't measure. Of course, Brittany, you don't measure. At the beginning, it is good to measure to see how things are working, so you can get a baseline of how much things are and what works together. I feel like with cooking, when you first start out, you measure everything. Once you start kind of getting into the groove of cooking and you understand it, you know how much stuff is, and you have the experience. You don't need to measure as much. I feel like that's kind of the same thing with disc dyeing. At a certain point, you just have the inherent sixth sense of disc dyeing. Like, okay, yeah, it should be about good enough. But when someone asks you how much, you're like, well, you know, just a dash here and a pinch there. Okay, if I start to weed the steak, please yell at me, because I'm not supposed to weed it at this point in time. Be like, I'm like, I'm having fun weeding. Weeds the steak. No, that needs to stay. That's the last part that I got to take off. So I'm going to be very curious to see how much of this black dye actually picks up when I do the gradient. I'm a cook, not a baker. I am the same way. You might think the opposite because of my OCD tendencies, but cooking is it is like an art form. Baking is a science where you need precise measurements, otherwise things will not work out. Cooking, you can add a dash here, improvise, you know, jazz cooking. Make stuff up as you go. All right. So, I think that is everything to be weeded. And I'm going to leave the grates on. So, I think the very end. I think. Okay. So I'm going to holster my tweezers so I don't stab myself. Probably stab myself in the process of holstering them. And I lost a little thing that goes at the point of the tweezers, but I just used my cut pipette. Fits perfectly. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to set this off to the side slightly, and we're going to be using dandelion and creamsicle for our gradation. Side. That acetone might pull up more black. That's why I'm going to cut it with, I'm very curious to see, even though it is still acetone and I cut it, if it's still the acetone that it's going to pull up. We'll find out. It's an experiment. I have no idea. But, lovely dovely shot glasses we have here. Get your own branded Dyers Guild shot glass. They should be on the website. If not, well, I'll get them up there and you can shoot me a message. But besides drinking your worries away, you can use these for disc dyeing. So let me grab a clean pipette. I'm going to, since I'm new to this per se, I'm going to be measuring-ish to the best of my knowledge. I'm using, not to my knowledge, but my ability. I'm going to use the pipette. So I'm going to try a 50-50 mix, and we'll see how that goes. And I'm debating if I want to use cotton balls or if I want to use paper towel. We'll try the cotton ball first. So I'm going to take, I can get, it's 2 mil there, add another 2 mil. That. Put that on so I don't spill it or evaporate. Then I'm just going to keep the bottle in the tray because we don't want any accidents. And we're going to take 2 mil of yellow, put it in, another 2 mil. Actually might be a lot. Find out. I will put cap back on so we do not spill. Yeah. So my goal is to have yellowish in the center, then slowly gradate to orange. And we'll see how well it actually works. I might try a paintbrush. I might try some cotton swabs. But we'll try the cotton ball first to see. And let's see. Ugly Hand said cotton swab for sure. Okay. Well, I'm slightly nervous because I don't know what's going to happen, but okay, we'll just try a cotton swab to see what kind of saturation we're getting here. Go to the very center. Okay, black is getting smeared around. You can definitely see it on the cotton swab. Okay, so we won't be able to do a whole lot of passes with this because I know you can't really tell here and it's not going to focus, but the black is smearing onto there. Okay. Not the ball. Why not the ball? I just want to go big. We're going to send the ball. But I'm going to get paper towel here, so I'm going to dip the ball into the solution and dab it on the paper towel so it's hopefully not sopping wet. As Brittany yells at her screen, "Don't use the cotton ball!" Ooh, that's a lot. Boy, howdy. I'm just dabbing paper towel to get excess dye off. And we'll just kind of rub it around. Oh yeah, he's picking up black. Yeah. Yeah, I just want to use the cotton ball to get a big swath of the area. Then I'll do some more cotton swabs. Dab off the excess. I'm going to use the other side, clean side. And that's the nice thing with the cotton balls and cotton swabs is you can work with, once you start rubbing it and start getting the black dye on one part, you can switch to go to the other part. What I'm doing is I'm just taking the cotton swabs and getting any of the corner or edges that I wanted to get those be a little darker. I think I might do a instead of half and half, a 3-to-1. So 3 parts ISO, 1 part dye. Cotton ball will pull up black. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, the cotton swab, you can kind of avoid the black, but it's still going to pick up the black, which it has. Okay, set that aside. Now we'll do the creamsicle. If there is black in here, which it's not going to be as vibrant yellow, which is fine for this instance because it's a dirty fire. Okay. Now I'll put some creamsicle in here. Did I wash my black first? Yes. If I really scrubbed it down with isopropyl alcohol and spritz it with some water. I didn't have soapy water, but and then cutting my acetone dyes with isopropyl alcohol to hopefully reduce the harshness of it. I don't have any denatured mixed up with these colors yet. That could be another reason why. Take another cotton swab. And grab another paper towel so I can dab the excess off of. Because you don't want to necessarily have a super sopping wet cotton swab while you're applying this. It's kind of, I'd equate it to like dry brushing. You want to kind of go in layers. See what we got going on here. Okay. I think I might need to add more creamsicle because it's pretty faint. I want something nice and rich. Doesn't seem to be picking up the black as much. I'm going to try another layer. I'm impatient and I hate doing layers, but that I feel like is the key with this. Add some more creamsicle. I'm going to be doing half and half again. Dye-forged creamsicle is my favorite orange, but after trying to mix a custom orange yesterday, I'm pretty sure it's just dandelion and flame scarlet. Huh. All I know is creamsicle is very, very potent. It will travel through the disc first out of all the dyes that you add to it. All right. Now we're using a half and half type solution for creamsicle. I really should just get some denatured alcohol mixed up. All right. Well, we'll send it with a cotton ball. So dip in there a little, that's a lot. We're gonna dab the excess as much as possible. Work our way to the side. And cotton balls, it is starting to catch on some of the edges. But with the black getting in here that's actually going to help to my advantage, actually. So it adds a nice effect to it. Okay, now I'm going to take another shot glass of straight up ISO. This time I'm going to use a paper towel. Because that, man, I wanted to like the cotton ball so much, but it's just the cotton ball fibers are catching on everything, and I like the paper towel because it doesn't do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the straight up ISO and rub it around to hopefully blend it a little better. If not, it's fine if it's streaky. In this instance, it doesn't need to be perfect. This off. So what the ISO does is it adds like a acts like a blending brush. Help blend those colors. I actually don't mind the streaking at all. I was debating if I wanted to go in a circular pattern, like around the disc, or if I wanted to kind of go in a star pattern, from like outside and in, but all seem to be working. Cool. Let's see here. Amazing fire, who it looks so good, and fire grilled. Yes. Happy little accidents, works magic with paper towels. Yes. Man, I do so many of these podcasts and everybody tells me there's tips and tricks and how they do their things. I keep forgetting who does what. I'm also experimenting to see like how much blending after the fact can I get between these colors. I know it's hard to see, but there's a somewhat harsh line between this creamsicle and the other layer of creamsicle because I was heavy around the edges. I'm just trying to see like how much can I do after the fact, which it helps a little. All right. I think that is turning out pretty good. Looks better on camera. In person, you can see every little detail. But, there we go. Cool. I feel like I need to put those shot glasses. I feel like I need to make a holder for the shot glasses so I can have like rows of them like I do the bottles, and so I don't accidentally spill them. I feel like I will spill those at some point. I probably should just go rinse them out, but I might need them for the next part. Yeah. So there we go. I'll probably get it up a little closer to the camera, but may not be in complete focus. So that will work for me for now. Now, the next part that I'm going to do is the stake. I had some reference images for coloring. Trying to think because we have the bone color, which is like a tannish. Then we have the meat, which is like a reddish brownish. So what would your recommendations be for, with the colors that I have? Obviously, I'll use blood red for the steak and part of it, but is there any other custom mixes that I should do to get the steak part and the bone part? Or am I going to have to pull out another color? Because I might pull out chocolate or burnt sienna to get the color of the bone. Yeah, let me know. Curious. Because I feel like I'm not the greatest with colors. But I'm going to weed the steak part because now it is time to weed that part. I hope. And for this background, I was really considering doing a glue bed, but I wanted to experiment with the gradation. I might do another one with the glue bed, we'll see. Yeah, let me know what colors I should use for the steak. Colors for the meat part of the steak, and colors for the bone part for the steak. I gotta figure out what I want to do for the grill plates, because those are still masked. They will be white once I pull it up, but I might do some shading to them to add the circular dimension. I might like shade one side or both sides of the grates and leave the center white, so it looks like they have that they're circular and have dimension. I do not like weeding with gloves on because I can't tell where the vinyl is once I stick it to my hand. Right. Anybody, let me know what the colors I should use. Even if you don't think you have an idea or know, throw out some suggestions of what you think should be done. Fission of dimension. Are you talking about the disc, or is that I'm not understanding? My brain is so concentrated on weeding. Let's see here. Ugly Hand says, blood red mixed with a wee bit of shamrock. Ooh, solid the edges to suggest more cooking. Not, that's all right. Okay, color theory coming into play here. I feel like you've got a good plan with a really diluted chocolate. Yeah. Okay. Blood red mixed with a wee bit of shamrock. I'm really curious to see what that's going to look like. I'm assuming the shamrock gets it on the lighter, like a browner spectrum. Yes, I saw Eagle's video of the dimension. I think that's, yeah. So I think for the next Dye-a-Thon, I'm going to bring on a co-host. So that co-host can read the comments and provide suggestions for me of what to do. I think that co-host is going to be Brittany. But it's good to die with another person talking to them. Almost done weeding. I think I'm actually probably gonna have to rinse out my shot glasses because there's a few custom mixes that I want to do. I hate weeding with gloves because what I like to do is I like to run my finger across the disc to feel any other vinyl schnibbles that I miss, which I hard to do with gloves, but I think I got everything. Yeah, the chocolate could be good. Chocolate NDA is very yellow, so I'm not sure how different with acetone in there. I don't know if I have chocolate even mixed up in acetone, honestly. Burnt sienna and fluorescent pink makes a good medium cooked steak interior. All right. Fluorescent pink. I know I have burnt sienna. And fluorescent pink I think I have as well. Bernie says, sorry, I never shut up. That's a good thing. All right, let me go back to my dye cave back here and grab some other colors. We are looking for burnt sienna. A good one. So, I don't have chocolate mixed up, and I don't necessarily want to mix up right now, but I have burnt sienna. I also have espresso bean, which could work. It's more of a darker blackish color. Burnt sienna with a dab of blue. Okay. Yeah, no, ugly hand. I'm trying to use the colors that I have on hand as well, especially the gold colors to get people being able to mix almost anything with that. So we're going to try that. We're going to try the blood red with the shamrock, and we'll see how that goes. I might do a test on the bottom just to see, because it's always good to have a tester disc, and I don't think I necessarily have a good tester disc. All right. So I'm debating of what I want to do first. Highlandis Dye says, I use Color Mixer Pro YouTube page to figure out color mixes sometimes. Nice. I'll have to go check that out. It's a pain, but it can help point in the right direction. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just looking at that. Chocolate. Alright, let's try the blood red with a dab of shamrock. Shall we? Let me mix the color first, then I will dilute it. So, do the blood red. Blood red is very potent. Okay. A dab of shamrock. Do like one little drop. Yeah. 2 little drops. 3 little drops? 4 little drops. A bunch of drops. And I'm going to actually do the testing of the colors on the back of the disc. Because I'm going to be using this as a giveaway. So people will know what colors that I used. Just want to make sure I don't have any dye that's going to get on the surface, but this is squeegee out the Q-tip. I'll do it on the edge of the flight plate, but that is blood red with shamrock. Pretty blood red. Let's see if we can add more shamrock. Needs a little bit of pansy if it's a bit off. Why not just add everything? See what happens. I'm honestly trying to get a little bit of a brown. Okay. What we got? Squeegee it off as much as possible. And this is with extra shamrock. So it is getting like a deeper cooked red. Good, good, good. We're getting there. I'm digging that. So that one was with a little bit more shamrock. This was mainly blood red and a deep and a couple drops of shamrock green. But that I'm starting to dig. Green and purple equaled brown. Oof, man. Now that this is drying, it's starting to get a little bit deeper. So I'm just going to add a bit of pansy to mess it up. I feel like pansy would do a lot, so I'm not going to do a whole bunch. Grab another Q-tip. Always put the caps on the bottles. But I'm digging how that's drying, so this is with a little pansy. I think the one that I had before I had pretty saturated. Okay. I'm digging, I'm digging. I just did a few drops of pansy. I don't know if it did a whole lot, but I'm still digging it. See here, that was the one with the pansy. Got a little bit back to red, I think. But either way, I think that will work, because what I plan on doing is going over with a black, a very diluted black, and I have the denatured for that to add some grill marks or other chars. I was laughing because Happy Tree Dye says you can only get brown by accident, not on purpose. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Okay. I'm going to dilute it just a smidge more because it was really taken hard. I add a little bit more isopropyl, which may hurt or may not. And again, if we get black on here from the stencil, that's perfectly fine. Because, you know, we'll just charbroil it. So I'm just trying to think my plan of attack. I want to get a nice good single coat on everything. Then I'm probably going to work more around the edges to get it darker to add a little dimension to it. Then I'll also probably go a little bit darker anywhere these black lines are to kind of follow that. Then I'll follow up with probably some black after. But after I get the base layer for the steak, then I'll try the bone and we'll try to figure out that color. But we will send it with this. And I'm trying to swipe in the direction of, or the same direction, because if there is any streaks, it will look like the meat texture. I might have to break out some fine point cotton swabs to get on the edge because I don't have the mask to save me from my mistakes. And what I'm going, I'm also kind of twisting the cotton swab so when it does pick up the black, I can get back to the fresh red dye. And just like spin dyeing, I'm squeegeeing it out as much as I can so it's not flopping. And again, the nice thing with this is if there is streaks and lines, it just adds to the effect. I'm going to break out some fine point cotton swabs. Alright, before I do that, I'm just going to check the streams here. And they're still all in bud. Alright. Actually, I don't really need that. That's just getting in my way. Now I'm getting the edges colored in. It's just like a coloring book. You gotta color within the lines. Alright, so while I'm doing this, I know some of you already mentioned, but suggestions for colors to be used for the bone. Let's see. I just want to say, having Austin out on the road is the right human for that job. He is such a good, funny human. Did he pay you to say that? But I wholeheartedly agree. Got some squeaky ASMR going here. $7. He paid me to say that. Man, you need to charge more. Austin, he is the perfect fit for doing what he is doing. It is in his nature and his calling. He loves disc golf, and he loves being a gypsy, and he loves talking and hanging out to other cool people and meeting other cool people. If you do see Austin on the road, stop by, say hi. We always joke that he's the other guy, but he does play a very important role within the Dyers Guild. Without him, we wouldn't be on tour, so everything just kind of worked out so far. Might be some other roadblocks or challenges ahead, but we will overcome those. All right, does that look meaty? Looks meaty. Meaty. Okay, now let's do the bone color. I'm going to cheat and use burnt sienna because that's kind of the closest thing that I have so far. So, there that goes. Da-da-da. Burnt sienna. See how this looks straight up. And we'll see if we need to cut it with anything else. Okay. Hey, Austin, you're actually listening. I knew you were. Looks nice and medium cooked. Not completely in focus. There we go. Once I get the bone color, I'm also going to go over the top of the red color to hopefully cook it a little bit more. But I'm very curious to see what we got for the burnt sienna for the bone color. I'm going to need way more burnt sienna in there. Okay. Another paper towel. I might be on something here. Okay, okay. We're getting something. Might add more burnt sienna. More. Burnt sienna is potent. It can be, yes. So I'm going to add some more. What is the opposite color of orange? Do I need to add a dab of blue to get a little bit browner? I just added more burnt sienna to my mix. Here's to see how the saturation is going to be now. Okay, it's a bit oranger than I was, which the burnt sienna, yeah, is orange. Let's add blue. We'll add a little bit of blue to hopefully get it brown. We're going to get brown some way or another, so. Hope I'm doing this right. Okay. See what we got here. Mixing bowl. Kinda. Kinda. Okay. Well, we'll add a little bit of green. We're just going to add a bunch of colors and see what happens. I think we're going to just a smidge a bit more blue. If we don't like what we're getting, we can start over. I kind of wish I had chocolate right now. But we're experimenting with the colors that we have on hand to see what we can get. Ooh, yeah. I think we're getting there. Okay. Do some more swabbing. Oh yeah. A lot more browner. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, show you guys here. So you can see my progression. This was pretty diluted burnt sienna. Added more burnt sienna. Added some blue and burnt sienna. Then I add some more blue and green. Okay, shamrock, so it's got that nice brown look. So I think we're good with that brown there. And we're going to do the bone. And probably go over the top of the steak part as well. Dab it in there, dab most of the excess off, as much as we can. Let's see here. Todd Cannon, doesn't purple and orange make brown? There's a lot of things that make brown, but I'm trying to think of opposite colors. The opposite color of orange, I think, is blue, if I'm not mistaken. The only reason I know that is, well, it's like teal and orange, I guess, are kind of the opposite. So yeah, purple might be the opposite. The reason I know that is because in movies, if you look at movies, you see the human skin tone is like that orange color, and they try to have that contrasting in the shadows in the background with that teal or blue color. Yeah. I dig, I dig, I dig. I think that turned out perfect. That's like my first true real mixing of colors. That the only other one that I really did was with the Trash Panda one, but not to this extent, for the Earth Day disc. I do have video proof of what I did, but I don't know if I can reproduce it exactly, which is the downside of not measuring things out. Color theory is hugely important, especially in instances like this. Yes, you can have pre-made colors already mixed up, but you might need just a specific shade of something, and you have to mix something on your own, and this is where color theory comes into play. Right, so I'm just slowly adding more color, and I'm trying to go to the edges, have like the center as the highlight to add some depth to the bone, and I'm trying to add a little bit more darker near the meaty section. Yeah. All right. What I'm going to do is go over the top of the red, and then we'll see what happens. On the meat part, add some brownness to it. Add some cook, so it's not completely raw. Just adding some subtly nice color, which I am liking. Nice, 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 nice. Fantastic. Sweet. All right. I might do another layer on the bone part. But it looks fairly white on camera, but I promise you it's. I'll hold it up in a second. Jeez. Awesome. This is what we're looking like so far. Hard to tell the bone color, but I am digging the way that is looking. Now I'm going to attempt to add a little bit of shading with black, with my denatured black. I'm just going to go dump this real quick. One of them, so I can potentially dilute it more if needed. All right. I've got my denatured black here. Lawson says, "You are a cook, not a baker. Measurements aren't important as results." This is correct. But if you want to repeat the results, you know, good to know. But I guess if you want to repeat the results, you just got to keep doing it in repetition. And just like with cooking, you'll get the idea behind what goes into something to make it nice and tasty, or in this case, colorful. I'm just going to slightly dilute my denatured with just a bit of ISO. I'm going to go in the back, test it to see how much saturation I'm going to get to give me an idea of how fast it's actually going to take to the disc. Right. See what we got for this black. Okay, it takes pretty fast, but I'll keep it pretty dry and not super sloppy on the cotton swab. But my goal with this is I'm trying to shade in areas to add some depth. So what I'm going to do is try to go around the steak, on the edges, the bone, and maybe some parts of the charcoal and grill to add a little bit of depth. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let's start with some of the charcoal. And just shading adds so much, the little details, and makes your dyes pop so much more. The little things. All right, well, we are almost done with July's Dye-a-Thon. For those who are joining us currently, doing our take on the theme, which is the Feast of Food. The Dye-a-Thon, the purpose behind the Dye-a-Thon is if you're in a creative funk, you want to try something new or different for a technique that you've never tried, you know, just to dye something, you know, different or inspire you. That's basically what the Dye-a-Thon is for. Not a contest, but if you do submit what you've dyed for that month on the Dyers Guild website, you will get entered to win a prize. And this month's prize is some Dyers Guild swag, which is a loot bag, a pen, and a shot glass. If you don't have these shot glasses, I would highly recommend it, especially if you're doing stuff like this. Then you can do your custom mixes, and since it's glass, it's easy to clean. I feel like I get really quiet when I'm concentrating. It's like when you turn down the music when you're getting close to your address, so you can find the address easier. Because loud music and concentrate. I don't know why. Getting close, gotta turn down the music. So what I'm doing now is I am going around the edges of things to add a little bit more depth. Like I'm going around the stake to add kind of a shadow slash drop shadow to make the stake look like it's above the grill. The thing that I'm going to do is go slightly on the edge of the grates. Yeah, love to see what you guys come up with. Food, it's a fairly straightforward theme, and you can pick anything that you want. You can pick your favorite food, like ice cream, desserts. I was almost thinking of doing like a dessert plate. You know how at the fancy restaurants, the disc would be like the plate, then you'd have like the nice plated drizzle, I guess. Yeah. What inspired me for that was just got done watching The Bear, so I'm in the fancy restaurant mode. Yeah, this was the first real experiment with gradation over stencil. Learning some bits with the way, because it was picking up some of the blacks of the stencil. And just trying to figure out how things work, so in the future we can do some more stuff. Right. Shadow, shadow, drop, drop, drop shadows. Okay. Do some around the edges of everything. Re-dip into the mixture. And we'll start at the bottom. We'll just go around the edge of the steak, the meat part of the steak. All right, let's see. All right, just past 2 hours. Probably the longest one we've done so far. But also, it gives you guys like an idea of how much it takes to do something like this. And how you should be charging way more than what you are for your die discs. Okay. Well, it's a little bit rarer done than I was expecting, which is fine. You just threw it on the grill. But I think that almost done. I got to peel up the vinyl. I'm going to remove my gloves because I don't really need those anymore. And just to make sure that if there was excess dye on there, we should be good to go. But my hands are all sweaty. We will take the vinyl off. Right. Then we just got a few pieces left of the grill grate. And we should be cooking with gas, but we're actually cooking with charcoal. Thank you, Dyers Forge. I'm pleasantly surprised myself. I didn't think it was going to turn out this good. I've never done anything like this before. A few bleeds that happen a little bit there. I mean, that's just minuscule, but looking good, looking good. Thanks, Brittany. It's weird getting positive comments of affirmation. You gotta say, this looks like crap. Take this back to the chef and cook it longer. Too rare. Yeah, love to see what you guys come up with. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us a message and try to get back to you as soon as possible. Austin, stop giving me positive comments. Some of the best dyes you've done have been live here during the Dye-a-Thon. So, don't miss out on the next Dye-a-Thon, because I forget, I think we have the theme picked out, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's some of the best work that I've done, because it's usually the only time I get to do this dyeing. So, yeah. I'm looking at this. I'm debating if I want to add any extra shading to the white parts of the grill or leave it. I think I'm just going to leave it. I don't want to mess up a good thing. I mean, I make it look so much cooler, maybe. But I think for this stream, I'm going to just leave it the way it is. Leave straight up white. Feel like there's still enough going on that it doesn't need any extra. You know, as an artist, you got to learn when to stop. But I think I need to have a steak now. It's going to be stuck in my head. I honestly thought I was smelling steak just now, so I don't know if that's good or bad. Oof. I'm seeing a little bit of an orange bleed on the grate, and that just gives me the idea of like maybe I can add some rust to the grate, but no, I must stop. All right, throw my schnibbles away, holster my tweezers, move that aside. But let's see if I can get it on camera. This is what we've got. A delicious plate or grill freshly put on the grill steak. So the methods that we did first is we did the stencil. We had the denatured alcohol with black. Then we cleaned it as best as we could have with the isopropyl alcohol, and we also gave it a rinse of water. Again, I would recommend letting it sit a day, and that idea came from Brittany from Ugly Hand Dyes, because she said letting it sit another day with the stencil, the actual black gets absorbed in there and it doesn't bleed as much. Then after that we did a gradient with a acetone dye cut with isopropyl alcohol to get the gradient here. Then we did some custom colors to get the steak color as well as the bone color. The steak color was a mixture of blood red and I forgot now, but we tested the colors on the back just to make sure what we were getting, but I think it was blood red and blue. And for the brown, or the bone color, we used burnt sienna, then we used green and blue, I think, to get more of a browner color. So yeah. And we'll be giving away this disc for members. So if you want to become a member, you have a chance to win this disc, and it is on an MVP Tesla. And you also have the wonderful sample colors on the rim. See what went into making this. But yeah, again, guys, would like to see what you guys come up with. Oops, like I said, this isn't a contest, but I would love to see what you guys come up with, and we'll be picking a random winner that will be getting this Founders Edition, limited edition loot bag that is individually numbered. You'll be getting 50 of 50, so you'll be getting the last bag, technically. And if not, definitely go check out loot bags. If you don't get ours, get theirs. Love the design, love the material that's in there. Very good. You'll also be getting a metal pin. Really cool. It's got antique nickel finish in there. Love that. And you'll also be getting our Dyers Guild branded shot glass, which I've used a bunch here, and they're very, very useful for this instance where you want to mix up your own colors. But please make sure use it for dye, and you have your separate shot glass for alcohol. Don't mix the two. I'm not responsible for anything for that. So yeah, thank you very much for joining. Thank you for engaging in the chat and helping out with some questions that I had for some colors. And I hope you learned something as well. So until next time, find your line, craft your piece. Bye!